Whew, I need to spray for some poison ivy. Hopefully I don't contract the itchies. Anyway, so my husband and I, or actually no, it was my sister. My sister and I were talking the other day, and talking about how people really don't like how people meet, to date nowadays. And it's a different world than it was 10 years ago. And a lot of people meet online, and my husband and I, we didn't. My husband and I, we worked at the same restaurant, and I was actually going to culinary school during the time. And so I was hired to be like the pastry chef at this restaurant. I made bread and all the desserts and stuff like that. I basically made my own schedule, which was pretty cool also, being so young. And I met my husband. He was a line cook, but I didn't meet him first. I met his brother. His brother was more like a prep guy. He was also a cook, just kind of wherever he needed help or they needed help. And he was pretty quiet, and I was always kind of like picking on him. I would always joke and talk to him about like just random things, but he would never talk back. So my husband, one day, I noticed that he was always kind of like, I don't know, like bubbly or talkative and very, I don't know, he joked a lot, right? And I watched him for a while. Like I people watch, okay? Like even with friends growing up in school or just people in general, I would watch them for a while before I would approach them. I would see them in different settings or see them how they talk to different people and see if like I could trust them to be, share anything with, to be their friend or to, get close to them in any way, or just even think that they're a benefit to me, like if we have things in common or not. And so I would always watch people. And whenever I was, working, I would see him joking and playing, and I started to kind of like him, and which is kind of strange because, like, growing up, me and my sister, we lived in the country, and it was next to our neighbor. He was Hispanic, he was Mexican, and they would have parties at their house a lot. They would, they had farm animals, and they would cook goats and kill the things right there, and that was kind of different. We didn't do that, but it was kind of different, and we got to experience a lot. But I never thought like about dating Hispanics because whenever I was starting to drive, we lived in an area. Well, it was Mississippi, but there was a lot of like land, like where they were, sorry, where they would cut your grass, and the people would always be in the trucks, and there were so many people in there because they needed a big crew to do the mowing the grass and the weed eating and stuff like that in people's yards. Landscaping, there we go. And I remember every time we'd be at a stoplight, like everybody in the truck would just be like eyes glued, staring at you the entire time. And so I was kind of like, what are they looking at, dude? What? Stop looking at me, right? Anyways, so I just never thought, I guess, I would date a Hispanic person. My best friend, she was Hispanic, but I was like, I don't know, y'all, your men are too like just eyes glued. That's it. Anyway, so he was a little different though, and so I remember he asked me one time, or it was like when I first started working there. He said, "What's your name?" And I would always tell the guys this just to see how they would react. I would say my name is Steven, right? Or some guy's name, and see how they took it. And I was just always like picking on people and joking around. And he just said, "Oh, okay." And that was it. And it's not usually the reaction that I would get. People would usually inquire more or whatever. And then I would actually tell my real name. But he just was like, "Oh, okay." And then walked on. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." Anyway, some time went by, right? And I don't know, we started talking a little bit here and there, having to deal with work, right? And I think I noticed that I was listening to, I brought my radio, and so we would all listen to basically what I wanted to listen to. And I put it on Nickelback. And I know a lot of people don't like Nickelback, and I don't know why, but I love Nickelback. And finally, someone else did too. Um, he spoke up and he was like, "Oh, you like this song?" You know, I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't know anyone else that would admit that they like Nickelback. Even if they did like it, you know, people would just go along with, "Oh, every song sounds the same," which, I mean, yeah, artists, they generally keep around the same sound and style that they do music. Anyways, so I said, "Yeah, you know, I never knew anybody else that, you know, liked Nickelback." And then he asked me if I liked movies. And yeah, I like movies. And so he said, "Let me see your phone." So I thought he was going to put his number in my phone. Just, you know, that's just typically what you would think. And so I gave him my phone, right? I don't know him that well. I don't know why I gave him my phone. I don't have anything to hide on my phone or any kind of weird things on my phone anyway. So I gave it to him, right? And I got it back, you know, and figured he would have put his number in there. So I was searching through my contacts, looking to see, okay, he put his number in there as like a slick way of whatever. And I didn't see a new number. And so I went back to him and I was like, "Well, I what did you do to my phone? I thought you put your number in there." And he's like, "No, you said you liked movies. So I downloaded a movie app for you." And I said, "That's all?" And he's like, "Yeah." Okay. So it really stumped me. I mean, I didn't get a lot of guys' numbers. I was, you know, like that or anything like that. Um, but he really stumped me whenever he just downloaded the movie app and nothing else. And I guess in a way he caught my bluff. I mean, that's not really what it is, but he caught me by surprise because it was not what I assumed that he would do. So he was kind of unpredictable, and I liked that about him because so many guys, whether they're a little bit interested in me or my friends or just people in high school that I saw growing up, that like guys would say the most basic things to girls, and they would just be like, "Oh, I'm in love," and I'm like, "Really?" All he said was this. He said that to Sarah last week, you know, that they would be smitten over it, and then it would just be like, you know, a cycle with these guys. They would get the girl, sleep with her, and then like on to the next one, you know, next week. And it's like, how do y'all not pay attention that this guy is really doing the same play on every one of y'all? So anyway, so I was always mindful of that, you know, and it just tripped me up because I, you know, didn't expect it. I didn't expect that he would just do that, right? And so it piqued my curiosity to where I wanted to, I guess, spend time with him then because it was strange. And so that, you know, over time we did. We spent time together and got to know each other and we hung out a lot. And I would watch him again in different settings. You know, in a restaurant, it's very busy and can be very chaotic. And you're having to work together as a team to get the food out there. And I would see the way he would react with the waitresses. I'd see how he would react with the waiters, you know, the dishwasher, and everyone, you know, and like, see how his demeanor was. See if he was basically just kind of like faking it in a way or faking being nice, you know, for a time to get what he wanted from me, or to see if he was just a kind person, to see if he was like this with everyone and not just putting on an act, not putting on a show. And that, you know, some people could be nice for a time and then they'll flip and treat you like garbage, you know. And usually you could see that with how they treat other people, just anyone around them, and how they speak to them and how they react. And I didn't see anything that, you know, threw up a red flag for me, or um, I noticed that he was patient and kind and he would explain things, and he cared about his work. He cared about making sure that, you know, the food came out right. You know, things were, you know, no food waste hardly. You know, to try to maximize someone else's dollar. You know, like the owner of the restaurant. And even though the owner of the restaurant was kind of a jerk, but he was still trying to, um, just because he was a jerk, he wasn't trying to, you know, cost the restaurant money, you know, out of spite. And I like that. I saw that in his character. And when you watch someone and observe them before you try to get close to them, you could really see how their heart is. You could really see what drives them, what their their temperament is. You could just learn so many like small things by how they commute with other people. And so I would recommend, you can't really do that whenever you're on a dating app. You can see what they want to put up there, text wise or picture wise, and people just really go off looks. And like honestly, my husband, he was handsome, but I wasn't initially attracted to him. I was initially, he was just kind of like whatever. I know it might be sound mean to someone, but I'm honestly more attracted to someone's personality than the outer shell, right? Because you can't help what you look like. It's how God made you, that's how you were born. But who someone is on the inside, that takes a lot more. And, you know, you can't really get that or see that with just a picture from, one of these dating websites. And so I feel for my sister, she's younger than me, 10 years. I feel for her generation and many others in mine that really don't know how to, that don't see anyone in their immediate circle, like who they work with, their friends of a friend, because that's how people used to meet back in the day. And that it's not like that anymore. Or people think that it's weird if you come up and talk to them or try to ask them for their phone number. It's like you just ask for their social security number or something. They get really taken aback by that, and they think it's creepy, and I just don't understand. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that because we were just talking about that the other day, and I have a lot more stories. uh I might talk about them. I probably will. It's just, it might help someone. I don't know. I do see a crisis with the world today, and the vanity and the emptiness. But I don't know. And maybe some questions too that maybe I don't understand, that other people can answer for me, that I don't understand certain mindsets, that might could help me understand. So anyway, well, that's all for this video, and thank you for watching.